So, Dr Hilary Cass, the leading paediatrician whose investigation into child gender healthcare led to a ban on puberty blockers, is to appear at the Scottish Parliament today.
So how will the Scottish National Party react, bearing in mind they've already been accused of placating the Greens by not adopting many of her recommendations?
So joining us now is co-director for For Women Scotland, Susan Smith. Good morning, Susan. I can see you smiling there. Did we sum up how the SNP might be feeling about Hilary Cass?
Well, actually, Hilary Cass has already appeared at the committee this morning. So it was actually quite a good session. There were some useful questions, and she was able to set the record straight on quite a lot of the myths that especially the Green Party have been trying to spread throughout Scotland. Obviously, the Greens are no longer part of the Butte House Agreement, so maybe with a change of leader, it'll give John Swinney an opportunity to row back. That's the sort of optimistic assessment. There are certainly people within the SNP who are not very happy about the direction of travel that was going on beforehand. But yeah, I think there will still be people who are going to be throwing the toys out of the pram at the prospect.
Susan, let's just remind people watching and listening, Downing Street stepped in for the first time since devolution to veto Hollywood's Gender Recognition Reform Bill. That veto was upheld by Scotland's court. Just remind people exactly what the SNP government was trying to enable young people to do, often without the parental consent.
So there's been a bit of a suite of bills that have been hugely problematic, but the GRR bill, which, as you say, was blocked by the Section 35 of the UK government, was to enable self-ID, so people to change their legal sex or gender simply by making a declaration and signing a form. And they wanted that to be for children as young as 16. And obviously that has been pointed out as affirmative, this sort of affirmative action has been pointed out by Hilary Cass as being detrimental to young people because it often cements this idea that they have a gender identity. So what the Scottish government are proposing and what they've been doing for a very long time in schools and so on is to embed this notion that gender identity is real, that it's unchangeable, that children as young as 4 or 5 can have it, and that this needs to be affirmed by schools and parents and medical professionals. And what was happening in the Sandiford Clinic, which is Scotland's answer to the Tavistock, was that children were being prescribed puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. And initially, after the Cass report came out, the Scottish government did not move to end this practice as the UK government did, and it wasn't until more recently that they've stopped prescribing puberty blockers. They claim they are leaving this up to clinicians, but it's a bit of a cop-out because obviously Hilary Cass is a clinician, and she was very clear that this is not good practice. So the fear has been that they are scraping around trying to find clinicians who will agree with what they say.
Yeah, and maybe, Susan, for you, the Cass report didn't go far enough because, of course, you can still get privately prescribed puberty blockers if you are a teen and you're desperate to change your gender.
Yes, she was asked actually this morning by one of the committee members about private prescriptions, and she said this is a concern for her. I think obviously her report was really into the NHS England and how they were doing it, but I think it's not unreasonable to say that private clinics should be following best practice as well, and that if there are considerable concerns about these drugs being offered on the NHS, they shouldn't be offered anywhere.
Yeah.
She also said, didn't she, that she didn't agree with the people who prescribe these terrible drugs, that actually sometimes the effects are not reversible.
Yes, and that was explored in quite a lot of detail, that we don't really know what the long-term effects of these drugs are, especially on brain development, on long-term effects on bones, on IQ development, on sexual function, on fertility. All of these things have been raised as concerns in the past, and there are no long-term studies. And she was very clear about the paucity of evidence. People considering this cohort in the long term, and the fact that we now have a very different cohort, of course, because what we've seen in recent years is this exponential rise in young women being referred to these clinics, whereas the initial when puberty blockers, etc., were introduced in the Netherlands, it was mainly young men. So there's been no studies to ascertain why this is happening and the effect of these drugs on these young people for the long term.
And that they remain guinea pigs at the hands of the pharmaceutical companies to some degree. Thank you so much for joining us, co-director of For Women Scotland, Susan Smith there.
This would be a big challenge for the new First Minister,
We've got
John Swinney.
Right of reply. It really is. A Scottish Government spokesperson has said the Cass review is a comprehensive and valid scientific document in line with NHS England, for whom the report was commissioned. We are considering all of the recommendations.